Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast or media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, Mathmachine, the Shark, and Stormflame. Today is our 180th episode. We're discussing the 2002 Nintendo Gamecube game, Star Fox Adventures, to continue Jurassic July this year. So, let's get things started.
Hello, Rare. Should have called you common with how much we see you around here.
So, the production behind this game is just as interesting as the game's plot itself. In the late 90s, Rareware were busy at work with the brand new game idea they had called Dinosaur Adventure. At the same time, the Star Fox creator asked Nintendo to make a sequel, as Miyamoto suggested for it to be an action-adventure type game instead of the traditional Star Fox gameplay. After preparing designs that were not unveiled for E3 2000, Miyamoto noticed that the Rare designs looked very similar to that of the protagonists of Star Fox and met with the developers to see if they could combine the two games together. The result was Star Fox Adventures, which is a bit of an unusual departure from the rest of the series that nonetheless has its fans, and it's very easy to see why.
I will also say that for the longest time, even today, people held Nintendo in contempt for being the one to drive Star Fox away, when in reality, it wasn't really their fault to begin with. And both Rare and Nintendo were okay with the product they made, even if it ultimately took a while for it to become a cult classic.
So I can kind of understand why people don't like this game or have issues with this game, because while it's a good game, especially at the time, didn't feel like a Star Fox game. It felt more like a Zelda in the way that it played and with the kind of story that it was doing, other than, the sci-fi stuff.
As somebody who has never actually played any Star Fox game at all, not even grown up with it until later when I first watched a Death Battle episode. But I can see why people didn't like it, because I didn't know what the heck some things happened or even about, so...
Another interesting fact regarding the whole, backstory of how this game was made and what was happening on the studios is that this was also Rare's last game with Nintendo, because after this game was made during the moving from Nintendo to Microsoft, and yeah, unfortunately this meant that they had to rush this game because they were already moving. Like, by the time Nintendo suggested that, oh, how about we make it a Star Fox game? It's like, we can, but guys, no, we are gonna leave after this, and unfortunately you can kind of see some rushing in certain parts because of this.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that they had to cut a lot of corners here, and it's unfortunate because they did try their all, especially with the story, despite the fact that they had to definitely rewrite a lot of things. Really tried their best for their final Nintendo outing, in a way. For this episode, we are mostly going to be talking about the cutscenes. We might bring up the gameplay here and there, especially parts that are relevant to the podcast, but for the most part, we are mostly going to be talking about the cutscenes for the game. The game begins with text saying how a woman named Krystal is searching for the truth of her parents' death. She receives a distress call from Dinosaur Planet and goes to investigate. And no, Dinosaur Planet is not related to Dinosaur World from Super Mario World, although it'd be great if it was.
There's something interesting about the Krystal, actually, something that was revealed in the games. It was something that was revealed, in extras and all of that. People that will play this game will probably think that Krystal is a native to the dinosaur planet, but she actually isn't. She's from another planet, but they never really explain how she got here. The heck, they don't even explain why she's dressed all trivial, again, she's from space, so why is she wearing that? I don't know, but this is another thing you can, again, tell how the story doesn't explain because of being rushed.
Krystal looks and acts very much like a native to this planet, when in reality, she really isn't. Which isn't a bad thing, especially since she adapted to Saurian lifestyle pretty well, despite not being from Sauria, but this definitely adds to her favor more than most would honestly admit.
I didn't know any of this when I watched the cutscenes, so I was actually thinking she was somewhat adopted or something, at least native to the planet. What happened to her parents was going to be part of the game. That didn't happen, so...
We begin the game by seeing Krystal riding on a pterodon underneath a stormy sky, and we are not going to describe who Krystal is, because if you've been on the internet in the past 20-25 years or so, you know who Krystal is. You have seen at least one picture of them. Even if you're the most basic of basic people who only uses Facebook for cat pictures, you know who Krystal from Star Fox is.
Yeah, and to those who don't, then I very much want to know what kind of rock you've been under for the past 20 or 30 years at this point.
If she was eligible for the Dragoness Scale, she would easily get the quickest 10s out of 10s across the board. She is a perfect character for many reasons I will get to.
Right. I'm just gonna say, just in case, for the very people who live on a rock for that amount of time, Krystal is a blue fox with a British accent.
What's interesting is she was going to be the main character of Dinosaur Planet, and instead of a fox, she actually was going to be a cat, and she had a slightly different design compared to the Star Fox inspired design that she had, but sadly this is not the Krystal podcast, this is the Dragoness and Female Dinosaur podcast, so let's get back to that. As Krystal speaks her own language in this part, she notes how she received a distress call in this direction, and whoever sent it out is in great danger. Krystal is voiced by Estelle Ellis, who basically has taken the character as her own persona these days.
That's pretty much Otto taking Uda from One Piece as her own. Like, this gal is 100% the voice of Krystal. Sure, the other voice from Assault definitely rocks Krystal as well. It's rare for someone like Estelle Ellis to take a character like Krystal and just say, mine now, no one else. It is honestly amazing. This person, to this day, holds Krystal in such high regard. To the point that she still voices her to this day, even for like fan projects.
She really takes this character so much as her own, and I hope if she ever appears in a new Star Fox game, they get Estelle to reprise her role, because Krystal dodges a fireball, but then loses her staff as a giant airship with a living dragon on it flies towards her. And wow, I really have to commend the guy. Bowser, you really improved the designs of your airships. Krystal then lands on the deck of the airship. She thanks the pterodon for helping her as it flies off, then sees another pterodon trapped in a cage.
Honestly, like, I like to imagine that Bowser made that ship for the person on board we're going to talk about in a bit, because it was like, he knew Rare was ultimately going to be going off to Microsoft at some point. He's like, screw it. Shame it doesn't exactly stack up to the other Koopa Cruisers that he has.
He then approaches the cage before a door swings open as General Scales, the tyrant and dictator of Dinosaur Planet, leaps out and introduces himself. Now, one thing to notice, none of this dialogue is in intelligible English. This is all done in their language with subtitles, which Rare was very good at if you've seen our episodes on Banjo-Tooie.
While I appreciate that they tried to do an alien language for this planet, it feels really weird when you hear stuff like Ishkatoni Nala General Scales or Bekona Quishta the Krazoa Palace. That just so jarring that you couldn't even translate the names or anything like that.
It makes me wonder if it was something from up top on Nintendo that told them, no, when you refer to the game elements, they always have to be in intelligible English. As you said, it really takes you out of it. If they just translated it along with the rest of the language, it would have worked out a lot better.
This guy calls himself a date taker. At least he's honest that he's brutal.
Just be thankful none of them ultimately say this little line. Una Karakrishna!
Oh, so naughty!
General Scales asks why she is there, as Krystal says she received a distress call. General Scales retorts by saying that the entire planet is under distress. Krystal says that Cloudrunner told her all about him and his evil ways. General Scales claims to not be evil, and says that he rules over the many dinosaur tribes.
Oh yeah, this guy's saying, oh, I rule through fear to control everything. Man, I wonder if he has a tragic backstory or anything like that. Oh wait, no, this is a Disney production, we're safe.
Yeah.
Nice. He then grabs Krystal's neck and holds her against him, saying if he doesn't rule with fear, the other tribes will fight against him, and asks if she dares to challenge him. He grabs her by the neck and throws her overboard, saying how nobody can defeat General Scales. Of course, what happens is, Krystal thankfully lands safely on another ship. Unfortunately, it's the Flying Dutchman ship. Instead, she actually pulls a Back to the Future 2 and shows up riding on the pterodon. Taunting General Scales, she says that she'll see him next time, as he yells that this is not over. We cut to Krystal flying to a temple, which is the most sacred place of all the dinosaurs. The pterodon tells her that they are at Krazoa Palace and to be careful in there. And judging by the color scheme of this guy, Are we sure this isn't Kazooie's much nicer cousin?
Yeah, I would not be surprised that at some point, with consent from Banjo, she just went around the entire Cloudrunner population and just went to town with these guys.
Going into the palace, Krystal sees that General Scales has already gotten to it and attacked it. She approaches an Earthwalker, one of the dinosaur tribes in this game. Earthwalkers are basically just Triceratops, which you'll see a lot of in this game. A lot of these dinosaur tribes really are just dinosaur species. They don't try to do like hybrids or anything like that, and one of the tribes aren't dinosaurs at all, but we'll cross that bridge when it comes.
The Earthwalkers look a little more like a mix between Protoceratopses and Pachyrhinosaurus's, since they don't really have the horns. And this definitely is the most ceratopsian thing you will see in this entire game.
There is actually a species of ceratopsian that looks like Triceratops, minus the nasal horn. I'm sure it's considered like not a real species anymore. Like, in my mind, it sounds like what you will call a sauropod or brachiosaurus. We do later see them. Not sure a Triceratops fits. I would go with horn face, something.
I mean, to be fair, they do a little more unique things with the other creature names in this game, but I get where you're coming from.
The Earthwalker tells Krystal that it is not safe in this place, as Scales has brought a great evil there. One thing that's funny, he peppers in game control instructions in his dialogue, which always reminds me of that classic line from Talking Flower, "Press R!" What is R anyway? After doing so, the Earthwalker tells her that the Kryzoa is dying and that when they were attacked, he managed to send a distress signal to her. He asks what was he doing here, as he explains that King Earthwalker sent them there to protect the temple, as he then explains that the Kryzoa are peace spirits that brought the world to life. Krystal asks if she could do anything, as the Earthwalker says how only the pure of heart can take the tests. He asks for her to go inside and complete the spirit's test to get her reward. She says that after she succeeds, to return to him. One instance of Rare's really good sense of humor, he says, "I'm not going anywhere."
Yep.
After you collect the first spirit, Krystal returns to the palace, only for her to be launched in the spirit's path by an unknown figure. She is trapped inside of a crystal, which is placed on top of the temple as she looks around in dismay.
Ah, Krystal, being trapped inside a crystal. Ironic naming, certainly.
You see a bit more of this later on, but it's the same here. Whenever she has the Kryzoa spirit in her, because of the way they do the purple effects with the eyes to show that the spirit is in the character, they have this very distinct look like they've been getting a little bit too much into the native foliage, if you get my drift.
Also, I hope you like it playing as Krystal because, yep, that's it. You are not going to control her ever again. Granted, she does play some parts in the story, but yeah, kind of funny because she's in the cover alongside with Fox, so you'd probably think she will be playable a little bit more, but oh well.
Yep, we had to wait for the next game for that, sadly. We then cut to the Great Fox flying through the stars as we hear the iconic Star Fox music. Slippy Toad is busy fixing up Rob 64, and one thing that's funny, Slippy's voice in all of these games always reminded me of Diddy Kong from the Donkey Kong Country TV show with a slight British accent. It's kind of weird. This is also the first time that the Star Fox group were redesigned, and honestly, I liked their looks in these games. I thought they were really charming, fun designs, and I think Nintendo should have kept them around looking like this for a little longer.
I definitely agree that these looks definitely look more unique than they've ever been, even in the Star Fox 64 and Assault. No diss to Assault, it gave us Krystal's best uniform in my personal opinion. I like the little Explorer-esque outfits that each of the Star Fox members gets in the Star Fox Adventures game.
Yeah, I think it mixes well the whole idea of, anthropomorphic animal. They have the fur and all of that, but they still look like human bodies. Could you imagine if the Nintendo tried to do a more realistic depiction of these characters that gets uncanny to the point that they are more animal than people? Oof, that will be something.
We learned about that from Honest John in the live-action Pinocchio remake. We don't need to see it in here. Loud rock music plays as Peppy asks if it's getting on Fox's nerves, with him trying to work on his maps. Fox turns around and tells Slippy to turn it down, and Slippy is annoyed at this, doing it by throwing a wrench at the jukebox, much to Fox's shock. They then receive a communication from General Pepper, telling them that they are near Dinosaur Planet, and that chunks of the planet are being ripped from their surface. He tells the team to get it back, as he says that if it explodes, it could affect the Lilat system, and to meet the Queen of the Earthshakers for more assistance. He also says that their fee has been approved, and once they're done, they'll receive payment. And it's good to know that Fox McCloud and his team are operating under the same rules that Lone Star is acting under. We're not doing this for the money. We're doing this for a shitload of money. Fox agrees with this, as he then heads out in an R-wing to the planet's surface. Pepper tells Fox to fly through one gold ring to reach the dinosaur planet, which you have to do repeatedly to get to the various areas in the game to unlock them. And I hope you like that, because that's one of the few times you actually get to fly an R-wing in a Star Fox game.
And you gotta do that every time you want to go from one place in the stars to the other around Soria. Get used to hearing fly through one gold ring to reach Soria from General Pepper as you play the game. If your tolerance is low for that sort of thing, this is going to be a little bit of a tough trip.
Okay, these sections are fun. They're like fun, a challenge, and you get something to do while you go from place to place. But at the same time, you can also tell that, oh, this is a Star Fox game. We have to add these because we have to remind people this is a Star Fox game. So, a double-edged sword with this section, basically.
After various shots of the dinosaurs walking around Thorntail Hollow, the main hub area of the game, Fox lands and gets out of the R-Wing. General Pepper congratulates him on his flying, then says that, "I thought you weren't gonna make it," after telling him how to use the communicator and to contact him and the other members of Star Fox if he needs more information. General Pepper tells Fox that his mission is to find Queen Earthshaker. Fox asks about a weapon, as Pepper tells him that the mission is about saving the planet, not destroying it, and for him to use his head. After playing for a while, Fox manages to reach Krystal's staff and pulls it out. He actually receives a message from her that says she is in great danger. Now, they depict this by having her shown as a giant floating head, which, hey, I thought only the villain of Star Fox games were supposed to be a giant floating head, not the heroes.
And she's also going to fly for you. But also, something I kind of find funny in this cutscene or the previous one is that when Fox and General Pepper are talking, it actually lasts enough that it actually becomes nighttime. So I think there's the implication that Fox and Pepper were discussing and arguing so much time that it became nighttime.
I am the great and mighty Krystal. Hear me. About Fox and not bringing his gun, not sure I'm a fan of that, because Fox has to defend himself to save the planet. Stupid move there, General Pepper.
This is a rescue mission, not exactly a war mission, as it were. So using a blaster would kind of defeat the purpose of that. Also, Fox twirling around the staff while Krystal's explaining what's going on. It's just like, bruh, she is trying to explain the whole dang situation to you. Maybe take some time to stop twirling around her personal property and listen.
To keep in line with Rare's style of humor in a way that I don't think that they even intended themselves, as soon as Fox picked up the staff, oh hey look, Fox got head from Krystal.
Absolutely amazing.
Her head kind of reminded me of Mario Party minigame where everyone is just floating head.
Krystal tells him that her staff has many combat abilities and how it can also be used to explore the world around him. She then has him try out the staff in a combat arena, and once Fox has done so, praises him and says how the staff is ready to become his master. We cut to Fox running up to a dinosaur laying injured on the ground. The dinosaur turns out to be Queen Earthshaker, but Fox is unable to understand her. One cute touch that they didn't have to do, but it's cool that they did. The subtitles in this part for Queen Earthshaker literally just says Dino Talk for everything that she says, and that's just a cute detail that Rare didn't have to do, but the fact that they did really is one of the reasons why they were such a great gaming company.
it was one thing when Krystal talking in Dino Talk and she could understand literally everybody else who was doing the Dino Talk because she had been on there for quite a while. But then we got Fox here who's just like total tourist behavior.
I'm going to go ahead and cut everyone off of the pass here and go full parody of ourselves for you. She's Queen Earthshaker. Don't you mean Queen Hipshaker? Because damn, she thick.
Queen Earthshaker is one of two reasons as to why we are discussing this game, with the second reason happening later on. Queen Earthshaker looks like the rest of her people, with bracelets and gems embedded in her. It's a nice touch they didn't have to do, but it's good that they did. Fox asks Slippy what she said, as Slippy tells him to go to Ice Mountain to get her son Prince Tricky back. Fox asks Queen Earthshaker for directions, as she instead bellows for a few moments, then says some dialogue as a stone statue wakes up. Slippy explains that Fox will have to go to the statue, as she calls it a warp stone. And obviously what's going to happen, Chef Kawasaki is going to show up. Come, Warp Star! Fox tells the Queen that he'll be back soon, then asks Slippy when the translator will be fixed. Slippy says it will be as soon as possible, as the warp stone, in a Scottish accent, laments that nobody wants him anymore. The warp stone is a giant statue that is both green and has very large ears, which, to me, really makes him seem eerily like Shrek, which could not have been a design standpoint because this game was being worked on at the exact same time as Shrek. So I think it was just a coincidence that they both look and sound a little alike.
Oi! Fox, get out of my swamp! And I've noticed a lot of characters in this game seem like they have Scottish accents. I'm not sure if you've been to Scotland, but we don't have that many dinosaurs except one. And she's not even a real dinosaur, technically. I'm expecting the Scotsman from Samurai Jack to come out at some point.
With all that being said, I wonder what the saurian equivalent of donkey and dragon would be.
A Earthwalker and a whale?
Fox then has to go to a shop run by a female lizard to get a treat for the warp stone to let him enter. After giving the treat to the warp stone then sits up and says how he has been left alone for 1,000 years. Fox asks the warp stone to help, as it says no, with Fox retorting that it has to. Fox then warps to the next location, which is actually depicted in a really unique way, with him falling in a swirling vortex of stars. He then arrives on Ice Mountain, where two of General Scales' guards attack Tricky with clubs. They chase him into a cave which slams shut. After Fox enters the cave, we then see the guards tormenting Tricky some more, as Fox walks up and tells him to pick on someone their own size.
So, Ice Mountain, huh? Well, Tricky was lucky it was Fox who arrived, because if it was Mario, he would have picked him up and throw him off the mountain.
That would have been probably better, but regardless.
Considering we're on Ice Mountain, I'm amazed that Tricky just didn't call his friend SSX.
Fox says that he's come to bring the prince home as Tricky runs out, being chased by the guards. Fox is ambushed by one of them, as the two guards then ride off on jet speeders, with Fox following them. Cut to him chasing them, before following off with a series of screams that really sound more silly than anything else. This is probably the most unintentionally funny line delivery in the game.
Jet skiers in an ice area. Alright, I'm getting Star Wars flashbacks, yet Hoth didn't have those.
Yeah, this 100% gave me some serious Star Wars vibes, but also gave me Wave Rider vibes as well. Don't know if anybody else got that.
Because we're covering the cutscenes and not the gameplay, I want to talk something about the gameplay though. So what you have to do in this part is you play literally a race minigame. You have to arrive to the end before the Sharp Claws. But here's a funny exploit you can do. At one point in the course, there's like a very tiny cave that only one of those vehicles can fit. If you manage to get in there first, you can stop, brake, and when the Sharp Claws crash into you, they will explode and they will die, and you can just do the rest of the course alone and automatically win.
Kind of like the Battletoads method, it seems.
Oh yeah, I could see the resemblance with Battletoad and Star Fox now. We do have a frog here.
Upon landing on a shore near Tricky, the guards taunt him as Tricky says something. Fox can't understand Tricky, and attempts to use his communicator, only for Tricky's sentence to suddenly become audible in the second half. Fox is upset at Tricky taunting him, before Tricky says, "I wouldn't do that if I were you. My dad's king and he'll beat you up." Yeah, I think Mario really would have the right idea with him right about now. However, Fox doesn't do that. Instead, he tells Tricky that his father has been captured. Tricky asks if his mother is okay, as Fox says that she'll be fine, but they need to get home. We then cut to Fox berating Tricky later on in the level, saying that he should be the one to use Sharp Claw, one of the abilities of the game. Tricky then tells Fox that he can be summoned any time by using the heal command on the controller. Fox is then stopped by a mammoth who, again, not to say that this game is ripping off anything, but he's basically the British version of Manny from Ice Age.
I got a few things bothered me. Why are there mammoths here? This is meant to be the dinosaur planet. They couldn't get actual Arctic living dinosaurs. Most people associate dinosaurs with warm climates, but there were dinosaurs who live in the cold areas. Pachyrhinosaurus, Unite Tyrannus. Yeah, there's plenty of choices of ice dinosaurs. Just not sure why they went with a mammoth.
I think the vibe they're ultimately going for with this game was like prehistoric. It's mostly dinosaurs, so I can honestly forgive the mammoths existing. I think that's generally what they were going with this. Just be thankful that early sloths and saber-teeth don't exist in this game, because any more parallels to Ice Age and we'd definitely be having a lawsuit on our hands.
The mammoth then demands food as payment. After getting some, the mammoth decides to help out Fox by giving him a scarab bag, which can hold a large amount of scarabs. Scarabs are the game's in-game currency. After bringing Tricky back to Queen Earthshaker, Fox thinks that their job is done, as Tricky asks if his mother will be okay. Peppy asks about the planet, as Fox decides to help Queen Earthshaker as she is unconscious. Tricky tells Fox to collect white grub tub, which is used when dinosaurs don't feel well. At Thorntail Hollow, Fox tells Tricky to stay put as he explores the cave, encountering a Brontosaurus. The Brontosaurus laments having been down there for 50 years and says that Fox needs a lantern to progress, telling him to go to the shopkeeper to get it. After getting it, the Brontosaurus then lets Fox pass. Fox then retrieves all of the white grub tub and gives it to Queen Earthshaker. Fox, now with the ability to understand her, manages to thank her. Her voice here is a lot better compared to the made-up language from before, let's just say. She has a really nice, almost calming voice in a way. She is not voiced by Estelle Ellis, but there is another character who is, that we'll get to in a little bit.
This is another instance where I want to talk about something that is not the cutscenes. That well we folks went through has a such great song, because regardless of how you feel about the gameplay and the story, I think the music in this game is magnificent, and music was composed by David Wise, the guy that made the Donkey Kong Country music. The guy that made Sticker Brush Symphony. Even if the game is questionable, its quality, you cannot deny the music is magnificent.
Considering how much I said that this game was Zelda-like, when we got to the you need a lantern to progress, I'm actually amazed that by that point, with it being so full Zelda with its gameplay style, at no point in this game did we hear the line, "It's dangerous to go alone, take this."
Well, at least Fox doesn't have to pay for door repair.
Yeah, I definitely agree that the Queen Earthwalker is one of the better characters, even if she's not voiced by Estelle Ellis. But I really gotta say that out of all the characters in this entire series, she's the one who arguably does the most to help Fox. Tricky, pretty much the one who helps Fox the most. Queen Earthwalker 100% gets my vote for being best side character. She might be getting that reward more than Tricky would. She honestly deserves to be honorary Star Fox member material more than him.
After being thanked, Fox asks Queen Earthshaker for information on just what is going on. The Queen explains that General Scales is behind all of this, and he is the ruler of the Sharpclaw tribe, a gang of rootless space pirates who have always wanted to rule Dinosaur Planet. And space pirates? This is the wrong Nintendo franchise. Instead of calling for Fox, they should have called for Samus. Queen Earthshaker says that Scales somehow managed to get even stronger than before and attack the palace. Fox asks what happened to the planet, as the Queen says that Scales managed to break the seals on the Force Point temples, saying how the planet has a magical force in it that is so strong it's actually pushing the world apart. She explains to stop this, 4 spellstones were placed inside of the temples. With the seals broken, Scales was able to enter the temple and steal the stones. Earthshaker then says that her son will stay with Fox, as Only a dinosaur of a noble birth can bring life back to the stones. Fox is surprised at this, saying how Tricky seems a little bit too young to do such a thing. Queen Earthshaker says that Tricky knows the planet well and has shown Fox his skills already. Tricky says that they'll make a great team, as Fox says that if he makes one mistake, he'll be sent back home. Queen Earthshaker then says that Scales was last seen in dark ice mines, and she knows the gatekeeper, Garunda Te. She then tells Fox to go to the Snowhorn Wastes and find it. She then begins to tell Fox one other thing, as, in a really funny joke, Fox is already visibly annoyed by all of this. It's something you don't really see in a lot of these exposition dump cutscenes, that the character that's actually being talked to eventually gets tired of it all, but they did a pretty good job with it here.
Ma'am, I came here to get paid, not to listen to a history lesson. Just tell me where to go, please.
Queen Earthshaker then gives Fox a prison key that Scales dropped earlier. We then cut to the mammoth from earlier frozen in ice, telling Fox to get him ice weeds for him to get out. After doing so in the overworld, the mammoth easily bursts through the ice and thanks Tricky, then asks who Fox is. After introductions, the mammoth introduces himself as Garunda Te, the Spellstone gatekeeper of the Dark Ice Mines. Tricky says that they need the Spellstone, as Garunda has a flashback, and no, it is not of the human hunters killing his wife and child. Garunda explains that Scales gave him an ultimatum, allow him to take the Spellstone or have his entire tribe wiped out. Garunda didn't budge, but his daughter, fearing for the safety of the tribe, opened the gates. One neat touch, the flashback is done entirely in sepia tone, which is a really nice detail. Scales then proceeded to not massacre the tribe, but to enslave them instead, as his daughter dishonored the tribe of Snowhorns. The mammoth then tells Fox to find the Spellstone and return to the temple, and only then will the Spellstone be brought back. Fox hops in his R-Wing to go there, as we then cut to Slippy explain the mission to Fox again, saying for Fox to find Garunda's daughter as well. After getting to the level, we cut to Fox saving another Snowhorn, who thanks him, then tells him to not be too hard with Garunda's daughter. The mammoth then gives Fox a gift of a bridge cog, which is actually used to unlock a new route for the level. Fox then sees another Snowhorn trapped in a chasm, who notes that Tricky has yet to learn the flame command, and offers to teach it to him. After Tricky learns it, the Snowhorn then says that he needs food, and if they give it to him, he'll let them go to the main gates. Wow, these mammoths are probably the only characters that are hungrier than the Bikini Bottom fish. After receiving the food, the Snowhorn then lets them pass into the cavern by having them ride on his back so they can smash the doors down. Eventually, they manage to get in, much to the surprise of the guards. The guard spots Fox sneaking towards the stone, as Fox manages to make his way across, then calls for Garunda. Fox asks where Tricky is, as Garunda says that he will turn up soon. Fox then rescues Garunda's daughter and asks her where the Spellstone is, as she says her name is Belinda, and asks if her father sent him there to save her. Fox admits that Garunda feels that Belinda betrayed their kind, and was sent only to get the Spellstone. Belinda argues that she had to do it to save the tribe, and if her father wasn't the gatekeeper, none of this would have happened. She then bellows and smashes the gate, only to get trapped underneath some rocks. Fox asks if she's okay, as she tells him to get to the bottom of the mine and she'll meet him there. After doing so, Fox meets up with her, as she says they must find the Spellstone. They find it in the claw of Galdon, a dragon-bug hybrid. He breaks free of his stone prison and roars, lunging at Fox, and Galdon is the first boss of the game. After being swallowed by Galdon, Fox has to attack him by shooting his membrane when he is regurgitated, shooting at his chest with the fire blaster. Fox manages to free the Spellstone and is brought up again by Galdon, who holds his throat and chokes to death. For a game like this, it's really surprising what Rare could get away with.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those bosses that, yeah, on the surface is more style than substance. Looking within and actually paying attention to the details that go on with this fight, it starts off pretty innocently enough. You break off his tail end and then he just swallows you whole, and then from there it only gets more graphic. This is ultimately what would get people to continue playing Star Fox and help the planet Soria.
I think think something that kinda, now that I think about it, makes it a bit more shocking that brutal death is because literally right before it, you actually get a comedic moment when they're about to regurgitate Fox again. He literally looks around and goes, "Oh no."
Yeah, that was something that really is a good moment.
Yeah, I was surprised about Fox getting eaten. I kind of thought it was like a bad, what happens if you lose all your health? No, that's part of the game. You just get eaten and you have to shoot the guy inside of him. Didn't expect that. And you choke him to death.
Fox then frees the Spellstone. After leaving, Fox tells Belinda to forgive her father as she agrees, saying how her people will no longer be slaves to Scales. Fox then hops in the R-Wing and leaves, where Pepper tells him that the temple is past Moon Mountain Pass. After landing in the hub world, Fox is to talk to the other dinosaurs there. One tells him that Scales extinguished all their beacons. As they are afraid of the dark, they ask him to turn it on. We know the real reason why they're lighting the beacons. Gondor has called for aid.
Light the beacons!
Yeah, though to be honest, if Storia was part of the Lord of the Rings universe, I guarantee the good side would be winning a lot quicker than they did in the actual movie.
After lighting all the beacons, Fox is then given the Moon Mountain Pass key from the dinosaur. We cut to Moon Mountain Pass where a guard is asleep, only for a Peter Lorre voiced guard to tell him that someone is coming. They throw barrels at Fox, which basically is more DK than Star Fox at this point. Between this and the world exploration earlier, are we sure this wasn't supposed to be a weird Donkey Kong 64 sequel?
See, in this level, what Fox should have done is should have done a barrel roll.
Ah, nice.
Had to.
The whole Donkey Kong stuff, yeah, we're getting the barrels, we're getting some... I would even say some of the Sharp Cloud designs kind of resemble Kremlins, and the composer of this game is the same one that composes the Donkey Kong Country game, so clearly Rareware was also thinking of DK during this.
For a send-off to Nintendo as their last game ever working with them, they definitely are doing quite a lot with the little they have.
After managing to get past the guards, Fox enters the temple, where Peppy tells him that the temple is built in a forest point and reminds him about what happened earlier. After putting the Spellstone in, the temple returns to normal, as Fox is then teleported to the temple. Krystal is sobbing and begging for help, saying how she will die without the Krazon spirit. A mysterious cloaked figure appears before Fox and asks him if he wants to take part in the test, saying how he was released after Krystal completed hers. He says that for Krystal to survive, he must collect all of the spirits, as only the pure of heart can enter the shrines. Fox, in an incredibly dick move, says that he can't do it as the planet is falling apart, but Krystal's cries and screams, as well as Tricky, manages to convince him otherwise.
When I saw this figure guy, I immediately thought he did it. He's the villain, the real villain, the true twist villain after watching so many Disney films nowadays. Also, the part about Spock was going to leave Krystal to die. My reasoning was he was thinking about saving the many over the few. Given a planet's falling apart, many people are going to, do that and not waste their time to save one person.
Despite the more paragonal route that Star Fox ultimately is, at the end of the day, they're still a mercenary group. Like this is definitely something above their pay grade, so I'll give Fox a little leeway when he hasn't exactly getting as far as he has without someone being, hey, you gotta do this thing, and hey, you gotta do this thing as well.
After collecting the spirit, which, as Matt said earlier, makes Fox look like he's really happy right now, let's put it that way, Fox is then teleported to the temple, as the figure then says that dinosaurs are not allowed. Fox is brought to where Krystal is, as he is in awe over how beautiful she is. And this isn't just us saying this, folks. The game's soundtrack at this time is sexy saxophone music, like the kind when Jessica Rabbit walks in a room.
Little interesting fact, if you're able to get a specific item, in particular binoculars, from this game's shopkeeper in Thorntail Hollow, you can actually go underneath Krystal's crystal and get a view of her personal jewels as a little bit of an Easter egg.
The composer wanted you to get the idea of Careless Whisper, because without it being Careless Whisper, this sounds remarkably like Careless Whisper.
Well, I think this is the perfect moment to bring something that also happening during the making of this game. When a lot of the assets and characters were being taken from Dinosaur Planet and brought into Star Fox Adventure, Krystal was one that Rareware kinda had doubts about bringing up. Well, they say like, does she really fit on this series? Does this design will work for the game and all of that? It was Miyamoto who showed up and said, I'm not kidding, and I quote, the Star Fox series needs more fan service.
What an absolute
Yes.
legend. Fox then releases the spirit into a statue's mouth as the spirit floats toward Krystal. Fox is then warped back to Warpstone, who tells him that Fox has to go on the seaside. Warpstone also gives Fox a larger bag that can hold 100 scarabs. We then cut to the pair arriving in Cape Claw, where they come across a plesiosaur who hid his gold but forgot where it is. And no, it is not under the X that marks the spot, because, as we all know, that's the Dutchman's treasure, not his.
Yeah, Tim didn't have a lot of pigs, and one of them was ghosts, because if Fox was a ghost hunter, he'd know exactly how to bring out said ghost with dubstep.
After retrieving it, the plesiosaur lets Fox go through as a Cloudrunner, which is the race of pterodons, arrives. Tricky yells at her as he then explains to Fox how their kind do not get along well.
Also, this character in particular is the Queen Cloudrunner, like the head honcho of the entire place, and we're not quite done talking about her yet, because when you first hear signs of her, she's like actively sobbing. Given this game absolutely fits, and believe us, this is not going to be the last time we hear that particular thing from her.
I guess racism wins, kinda, because Tricky doesn't go to the palace.
Interesting little fact about that, actually. When Fox actually prepares to go to the Cloudrunner Kingdom, Tricky just ends up going in the ship anyways. Like, he doesn't come out for the Cloudrunner Kingdom section, but he's just, like, in there, possibly playing Star Fox's spare Game Boy, and all the while, Fox is dealing with the stuff on Cloudrunner Kingdom while that's going on. He just ends up doing it, and it's just like, Fox will be a while. I got some time to kill.
The dinosaur says that General Scales kidnapped her, and she is the queen of the Cloudrunner tribe, which is the second reason we are discussing this. Basically, the best way to describe their designs, imagine a dinosaur version of Kazooie. Not Dragon Kazooie, Dinosaur Kazooie. Not that that's a bad thing, of course. She's also voiced by Estelle Ellis, who also, of course, voices Krystal, and she does a pretty good job here, sounding different enough from Krystal to where it really feels like she's a unique character. She did a good job differentiating them. The Queen then says how General Scales opened up a path to Cloudrunner Fortress, and says she must go there as she flies off. Fox asks Peppy from an R-Wing, as Tricky says that he's not going up there. Fox says that they'll meet up at Thorntail Hollow as he flies off. After arriving at the fortress, Queen Cloudrunner says that she'll go ahead and for Fox to meet up with her. However, before she can do that, Queen Cloudrunner is kidnapped by Scales' guards and is being beaten by them. General Scales himself grabs at the Queen and asks where Fox is, as she says that he will find Scales and destroy him, as his guards beat Cloudrunner off screen. In the original version of Dinosaur Planet, Queen Cloudrunner was actually going to be beaten to death by the guards. Yeah, I don't think it would have flown in a more mainstream Nintendo game, so they made Rare switch it out to her just being beaten but not tortured to death, which, yeah, probably the good call, because I imagine a lot of kids getting this for Christmas being traumatized by that.
Although, I don't think it's exactly better, because, she isn't dead, but at that point, just being kicked and beaten up mercilessly by them, I'm surprised she doesn't have any broken bones from that thing, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, like, the interesting thing here is that, again, after this, she does play a role, she does help you and give you some things you're gonna need. So I wonder if, like, in the original game, it was going to be another NPC who did that. They have to cut corners, they had to rush this game. They didn't have time to make a new character and say, like, okay, she's gonna survive and she's going to be the one that's going to give you the items you need. Like, could that small thing be the reason she was spared at the end?
Very well could have been. Fox then confronts Scales, who attacks him with drones, knocking out Fox. Fox then wakes up in a cell without his staff, but he manages to fight off some guards along the way. He then gets a call from Slippy, who manages to give him a cloaking device. With it, Fox manages to get a guard to think he's another guard, and manages to rescue a dinosaur. The dinosaur tells him that the stone is by the wind lifts and to turn the power on to the whole city to start the generators. And man, this game is more back and forth than the point-and-click version of Battle for Bikini Bottom.
I know we're a few years early, but with Fox being in a prison and having to break out, I really would have wanted Patrick Stewart to show up and just say that he is the one from his dreams.
That's one of the other problems with this game, too. The backtracking. I'm not against that kind of thing, so long as there are ways to, like, make it manageable. Pokemon has the HM Fly, or Mario, once you complete a world, you can just go back anytime via a cannon, or just use the map mechanic to just jump to wherever. Nope, you gotta put in the extra legwork to just go back and do something new. I'm not gonna hold it against this game. It can definitely be a point of contingency with a lot of people.
After getting the key and turning on the wind lifts, Fox blows up the drones and helps the dinosaur to get to the wind lifts. The dinosaur thanks Fox and says that his name is Grattabug. He says that Queen Cloudrunner has been imprisoned in her chamber as an example to the rest of the tribe and to go to her for help. After getting there, Queen tells Fox that the floor seems unstable. After breaking it, he asks Queen Cloudrunner if she is alright, as she says that her children ran away from her after they saw what happened, and they are now hiding in the fortress. She then gives Fox the Cloudrunner flute, then says that if the sharp claw finds them, they will be lost forever, then flies off to a higher platform. And even though it looks like it, the Cloudrunner flute is not the ocarina, nor is it the conch call. After Fox manages to save her 3 children, Queen Cloudrunner allows him to enter her treasure room, where General Scales is currently at.
Another thing about the gameplay here is that what you're supposed to do is get close to one of the children and play the conch shell so they hear a melody and they get back to the queen. I swear the music that Fox plays here is like a rearrangement of Jinjo Village from Banjo-Tooie. Like the very first 5 notes, I'm pretty sure it's the starting from that theme, which, hey, rareware, makes sense.
After Fox enters the treasure room, he shoots at General Scales with the staff, as General Scales then uses a minion as a shield. He tells one of the other guards to get the spell stone, as he tosses the minion at Fox. The other henchman rides off, as Scales laughs evilly, revealing himself to have been a hologram this entire time. Fox hops up on one of the other speed bikes and chases down the minions.
Back at the Scales hologram, at first, I just thought he was actually, like, just turned invincible or something. I missed that part of him being a hologram, but...
Well, unfortunately, it also means that Scales cannot press the big red button.
After managing to beat the guards, Fox gets the Spellstone and brings it back to Queen Cloudrunner, who joyfully says that now they can rebuild their lives. She then bows to Fox, who does the same, as Grattabug tells him that when they get to the surface, he can go to the next temple. All of the Cloudrunners unfurl their wings in recognition of him. After heading back to the Ocean Point Temple and placing the stone in, Fox is then held at spear point by a dinosaur. Fox yells that he saved their life, as the dinosaur yells that he trusts no one, saying that the Sharp Claw accuses them of stealing.
Back to the Cloudrunner thing, it's honestly really cute that the Cloudrunners pretty much give him a ceremonial send-off. That being said, a little bit of a nitpick I have is they just bring up the whole fact that Earthwalkers and Cloudrunners kind of hate each other. I would have liked if they had a little bit of a segment where Fox was captured, and despite Tricky's initial prejudice, I would have liked it if the game a little bit of a stealth section with Tricky. Nothing too crazy or difficult, just him going around to try and free Fox in spite of the prejudice, and the Queen could have acknowledged Tricky's help in spite of nothing like immediately rival ending, but something a little
Same,
light.
I was wondering why they brought that up and yet do nothing with it throughout the entire game.
The dinosaur is then nearly hit by a fireball, as the dinosaur then tosses Fox the gem it is holding. The gem has a spirit inside, as Fox takes it to the temple. After putting the gem in the mouth of the statue, another spirit is freed for Krystal. We then cut to Fox at the Lightfoot village, as he sees another group of small dinosaurs. One of them approaches Fox, as Tricky, referencing Star Wars, says that he has a bad feeling about this, before seeing a trap. Before Fox can get out of the way, a bunch of dinosaurs falls onto him. We then cut to the village, as the dinosaur from earlier tells the others about Fox stealing his treasure. Fox yells at them all to let him go, as Chief Lightfoot walks over to Fox, saying how they don't like thieves, and judging from his appearance, Chief Lightfoot must have previously killed Dennis Nedry.
They look like Dilophosaurus, but yet one of them has a crest belonging to a hadrosaur, like a tube-like crest.
Another dinosaur tells the chief to kill Fox, as Krystal's pterodon then shows up and ends up helping Fox. After the dinosaur attacks Chief Lightfoot and his group, they then let Fox go if he makes the pterodon stop attacking them. After the Lightfoot tribe unties Fox, Pterodon leaves, thanking Fox for helping out his fellow Cloudrunners.
Okay, two things. First, that Cloudrunner actually doesn't belong to Krystal. That is an emissary sent from Cloudrunner Fortress. I understand the confusion. Also, second, this and a later thing won't be the last time we see the Lightfoots, because there's a side quest that also makes them liable for the podcast.
Fox then goes to Chief Lightfoot's temple, where he tells Fox to go away, only for Fox to tell him that he's looking for the spirits. Chief Lightfoot tells Fox they have a chamber underneath the village where the spirit might be. He asks if Fox wants to see it, then tells him he must take part in the Lightfoot Games. Sadly, the Lightfoot Games is not nearly as fun as the Fry Cook Games. The first event is to activate 4 totem poles before time runs out. After successfully doing this, Fox's next test is to fight in combat against their largest member, which actually is another boss battle.
Well, it's not really a boss battle, it's more of a mini game because you have to tap A as fast as you can. And here's where I want to bring something interesting, because speaking of mini games, anyone who's playing by this point is going to realize that this game is actually part minigame collection, because almost every single mission, rather than being like some sort of fight or some sort of puzzle, it's a minigame. Even the cars as spirits are minigames. I mean, you're good tricky by doing arrays. The whole thing with the Queen Cloudrunner is finding their children is more like a hide-and-seek minigame, and it's like, Rareware really had a thing for minigames now that I think about it.
Instantly reminded of Sly Cooper's boss fight with Ruby, the crocodile villain, when you have to copy her attacks exactly if you don't want to get hit. So, not sure which one was first, but alright then.
From what I saw, it isn't really a button masher per se, but you just hold the button and just ultimately win. And this wouldn't be the only time that ultimately happened.
After successfully completing the boss battle / minigame, Fox is now considered a member of their tribe and is given access to their temple, which to me is actually kind of funny, because the way they hype this up as, oh, the great and dreaded Lightfoot Games, you think that there's going to be several dozen of these things or something like that, but it's like, nope, just 2.
Maybe they're just very, very lazy and they think 2 is just enough.
At least you got me thinking something like the chief going to Fox and says, "You'll do 1 challenge." And Trick is like, "Oh, bring it up. Fox can do more than 1. Your friend's tenacity will cost to you. You will have 2 challenges."
3 challenges!
Perfect. After giving Krystal another spirit as it floats up to her, Fox is then taken back to the hub world, where a female dinosaur yells about her eggs being stolen. After picking them up in a time limit, the dinosaur gives him access to yet another location. We then cut to Queen Earthshaker telling Tricky and Fox that King Earthshaker has been kidnapped and taken to the walled city.
That female Thorntail is another instance of another female that I did not know was in this game. Mini game of trying to protect her egg can definitely get a little strenuous. Like, she just stands there for most of the game guarding her eggs, and then the mini game happens, and then reward, you get the next power up. So props for having a mini game that ultimately actually rewards you with something that's actually needed. So
The Wall City. And was the guy naming these locations sick that day or something?
they're going for like a prehistoric thing, but despite having advanced technology able to contact Darfox, they also, again, are a bunch of prehistoric animals, so...
Tricky yells for Fox to help, as Fox asks Queen Earthshaker to show them where the gatekeeper is. It turns out that King Earthshaker is the gatekeeper. Fox is annoyed at this, as Queen Earthshaker explains that her husband is wise and he hid his sacred gatekeeper. She explains that she cannot break the seal, as Fox manages to successfully do so, then gets in his R-Wing and flies off. Peppy explains that this particular mission might be very dangerous, as Walled Cities was once the Earthshaker's home, but is now home to the very dangerous Red-Eye tribe. They eventually arrive to the temple, as Tricky runs up to his father, as King Earthshaker says that he is alright. He then greets Fox as the hero of Dinosaur Planet, who is more than uncomfortable with the name. We then get probably one of the funniest jokes of the game, where after King Earthshaker says, "No, I don't have the spell stone," the music instantly cuts off.
The thing about the Red Eye tribe, all I could think of is, oh boy, Hope Fox Prize Blue Eyes deck.
King Earthshaker then does know where they can look, as he says that it is in the lair of the Red Eye King, but to get that, they must collect 2 sacred teeth in the magic cave. After doing so from 2 temples, the wall closes in as King Red Eye, a giant T-Rex, appears to attack Fox, being the main boss of this level. After killing King Red Eye, and this isn't one of those kills where, oh, just poof, he disappears. We actually see it on screen, which, again, another point for Rare there.
2 things. Yeah, another brutal moment in a Star Fox game of all things, where Fox legit kills the boss in the most brutal way imaginable. And I know you all are probably thinking at this point, and I am unfortunately going to be the bearer of bad news. No, the Red-Eyed King is sadly not female. Hey, we got plenty of females already, so we're not spoiled for choice here.
Well, let's just get into the detail of what happens, because you keep saying, oh, it was brutal, but don't really say why. Fox stabs them in the head. He pierces his brain.
After killing King Red Eye, Fox takes the spellstone from his head. King Earthshaker says that he is proud of his son and Fox, then says that he will stay behind in the walled city until it returns to the planet. Fox then hops in the R-Wing and heads to the next temple, where he then releases the next spirit. We then cut to another area where bats are attacking dinosaurs. Once Fox helps them out, another dinosaur thanks them, as Fox sarcastically remarks how he's not getting paid enough to keep them out of trouble. However, the dinosaur then gives Fox a gift, the largest scarab bag, which can hold up to 200 scarabs. We then see Fox with Garunda, who is amazed at the shell that Fox has and says that he hasn't seen it in many years. He then gives Fox another chance to prove himself with another challenge. After completing it, Fox gets yet another spirit for Krystal, and after the same ritual happens again, he goes back to the hub world. Warpstone tells Fox that there's only 1 spellstone left, as they then have to go to Dragon Rock. Not Fraggle Rock, but Dragon Rock.
Nor, sadly, is this Dragon Hill. We are going straight to Dragon Rock.
We then cut to them at Dragon Rock, as Fox approaches one of the residents, noticing how silent they all are. One of them eventually speaks, saying how he took a vow of silence since he attempted to save the planet, but he failed. And he also failed at taking his vow of silence if he just speaks to the first guy who comes up to him like that.
Yeah, this is another point where you can tell that the plot and the game was rushed, because when you are told you have to go to Dragon Rock, Fox says, but where's the Guardian? I don't know where to find them, to which the Giant Stone says, he who doesn't talk has a lot to say. But here's the problem. There's like no foreshadowing nor hints whatsoever to who the real Guardian is. You're probably gonna find them just talking randomly to the NPCs in the area. It's like, yeah, you can tell they didn't have the time to really set up who this character was.
If you're one of those people who pretty much goes around talking to literally every other NPC, you'll find one who's just keeping to himself, just being like mumble mumble. It's like, at first you would think like this guy is just completely random, but experienced gamers will immediately pick up that this guy might be important for something later. So there is build up there, but I do agree that the rushed nature of this game kind of makes it a little not so obvious at first glance.
Yeah, I can definitely see why, but I think Shark makes a lot more sense because this part of the game really feels the most rushed in a way. The dinosaur then says how he attempted to lead a resistance against General Scale. Scales learned about it before anything can happen, and led an onslaught against Dragon Rock. Scales imprisoned 3 of the dinosaur's closest friends and has the spellstone there as well. Fox realizes that he is the gatekeeper and opens it for Fox to go in. Fox manages to find another dinosaur, as the Earthshaker there says how they can help save by destroying the shield generators by riding on his back. After doing so, we then cut to Fox and Tricky approaching a Brontosaurus, who says that they are trapped by the ropes. After freeing the Brontosaurus, Fox must protect them in an escort mission, as he then helps them lower the gates. The final dinosaur is a Cloudrunner, who thanks Fox, then notes how he's a friend of Krystal. Fox is surprised at this, as it turns out this dinosaur is the same one that helped out Krystal in the beginning, and him earlier on. After Krystal left, this dinosaur was caught by Scales and left there ever since. While fighting on the back of the pterodon, he warns Fox that the Spellstone is guarded by a terrible creature as he fights off against Drakon, which is basically just a giant dinosaur in power armor.
Hey, when I first saw him, I literally thought he was a demon.
Yeah, I can definitely see why. With some of the spiritual tones in this game, that would not be beyond the realm of possibility. Nah, it's just a mutated, overpowered dinosaur that gets one-shot by several bombardments of fire shots from Fox's staff, so...
Well, there's something quite interesting about this boss, and that's this guy was going to be originally the main villain of a dinosaur planet. But for some reason, rather than staying the big bad of the game, he was turned into a boss, and they made General Scales for Star Fox Adventure.
Fox then manages to pull a Mario by causing Drakon to fall into the lava, although unfortunately, we do not get a battle with dry Drakon. Fox manages to get the next Spellstone and is greeted by all of the dinosaurs as he then flies off. Fox manages to place all of the Spellstones in and manages to bring the planet together. In a really neat twist, it only lasts for about 5 seconds before breaking off again. It's such a great little bait and switch there that, with the music playing, Peppy says that there appears to be a shrine entrance hidden on the temple, as Tricky says, "I could have told you that." Queen Earthshaker says that something is wrong, as Fox says that he returned all of the Spellstones, but not all of the spirits.
Before you can travel to the Krazoa temple and get the rest of the thing, you have the option of going back to the Lightfoot village. There is a little thing where you have to pretty much find all the Lightfoot children that belong to 3 separate Lightfoot females, who also count. It's pretty much an optional side quest, so the most you'll be getting out of it is like scarabs and...
It turns out that Fox has to return to Walled City to find the shrine, as he once again gets in his R-Wing. When he's up there, King Earthshaker thanks Fox for returning the Spellstones, before Fox notes that they're both still stuck up there. The king says that returning the Spellstones managed to stop the flow of magic energy, but the spirits will bring the planet back together. Fox then realizes that they both have reasons for getting the spirits, as King Earthshaker then says that the temple will be revealed once he gets the Sun and Moonstones back, and before anyone asks, no, the Moonstones are not the ones from Pokemon, nor are they related to Princess Celestia or Princess Luna, sadly. After he manages to do both of them, he then gets the final spirit. He then says goodbye to Tricky and embraces the small dinosaur, saying how he'll miss him and gives him a Star Fox pin. Tricky runs around in excitement as he says to Fox not to be gone for too long, and since this might be one of the last times we see him in the game, that says a lot.
Honestly, he should have also gone to Queen Earthwalker and given her the badge as well, because her and Queen Cloudrunner absolutely should have both gotten honorary Star Fox pins as well. Put in the work for this game. Same with Tricky, but
after heading to the temple, General Scale suddenly appears and says how, although Fox managed to get the Spellstones, his journey ends there. However, a voice manages to tell Scales that he has outlived his usefulness and that he was the one who brought him to the palace. Scales is confused at this. He berates Scales for his lust of power blinding him, as Fox wonders what that voice is. Scales is forced to give Fox the last spirit as he does so, which frees Krystal from her prison. After being freed, he picks up Krystal, as the two stare at each other with, again, knockoff Careless Whisper music playing, which definitely implies things in the future of the franchise, which they do deliver on somewhat, which we'll get to in a little bit. However, the Cryoza god is woken up and gloats about being reborn. Krystal says that they will never kneel to him and manages to take her staff back. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
There's a funny thing here, because when Krystal says, "We will never kneel to you," if you look at Fox carefully, you can see he's slightly kneeling, actually.
Also, like the Sultan in Aladdin with Jafar taking over. You almost see him bowing before Jasmine, say, "We will not bow to you."
She manages to attack the stone head as Fox hops in his R-Wing. However, flying up into space, we then get the big twist reveal of the game, because the giant stone floating head turns itself around and reveals itself to be Wham Bam Rock from Kirby Superstar. Wait, that's not right. He turns out to be none other than Andros, who says that once again he will destroy the Lilat system.
All we needed to complete this was for Poe Dameron to show up and just go, somehow, Andros returned.
Perfect.
Yeah. All things considered, the build up for Andros's return was definitely one that came kind of out of nowhere, but in a way that was built up. Yeah, there wasn't too much development for Andros's reveal. There's no describing how he was able to have his consciousness survive and float through the ether and ultimately become the Krazoa god. I'd say this reveal definitely worked out in the end, and it made for quite an interesting boss battle and a very interesting return as well.
After fighting Andros, Falco finally shows up for the first time in the game, which, if you haven't played it before, you're probably wondering, where was Falco in the game? In the manual, it actually explains that Falco left Star Fox for some time, but now he's pulling a Han Solo and appeared at the last second to save the day.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that Falco is yet another thing that the plot doesn't explain. You have to look outside sources like the manual. Or, if you're Japanese, when you buy the game, you will get a manga explaining the backstory of why Falco left. So, yay for Japanese people.
Shame it wasn't included in every copy in the game, but after the two manage to blow up Andros, their R-Wings all arrive in the Great Fox, as the Dinosaur Planet is made whole once again. All of the residents of Dinosaur Planet cheer for Fox, who does a flyby as thanks. The game continues with the group saying how Dinosaur Planet was saved, as General Pepper says how he was surprised Andros was alive, as Fox says he used both the power of the Krayosa and Krystal to use the power to revive himself. Pepper then says that Star Fox will get their fee as the transmission ends. Slippy is happy over finally being able to repair the Great Fox as Falco arrives, saying how he'll rejoin the team. Peppy then says that they got a message from Krystal as she apologizes for not being able to talk to Fox, then reveals that she was on the ship the whole time. This is the moment where Krystal really gets shined, because they play the Careless Whisper music again. We actually get an honest-to-God butt shot of her walking towards him. The other crew members of the Star Fox team begin teasing Fox. Even Rob64 gets in on the act by saying, "I detect Fox's temperature rising." Rare knew exactly what they were doing here, and God bless those Brits for it, you know?
It's the same company that legit confirmed that Banjo and Kazooie legit fucked on Mumbo Mountain. No joke, they outright admitted that. So this is honestly tame compared to something like that, and we are all for it.
Wait. No way.
The game then ends with Fox saying everything will be fine as the credits begin to roll. Star Fox Adventure did very well in sales, but it managed to get mixed reviews, with the next game, Star Fox Assault, returning to the original style. As mentioned earlier, Rare would be bought by Microsoft, in probably one of the biggest mistakes on literally everybody's part, sadly. Star Fox is still around today, although not as predominant as it was in the 2000s, although hopefully the newest game helps rectify that a bit, with the appearance in the Mario Galaxy movie definitely being a huge stepping stone for the franchise. Which is going to lead directly to the question of the week, which is, what is your favorite Star Fox media? And I say media because not only video games can count. If somebody wants to answer with, for example, a movie or a series of shorts or whatever, I'll go first, and my answer is actually going to be the game I just mentioned a couple of seconds ago, which is Star Fox Assault. Played most of the Star Fox games. I liked them a lot. They were a lot of fun. Star Fox Assault was the first Star Fox game I played, and as someone who had mostly played just platformers up to that point, with stuff like, Kirby, Mario, Sonic, etc., a game like Star Fox, just seeing the opening level for the first time, it just absolutely blew my mind with just how beautiful everything is. And not only that, it has probably one of the darkest stories in Star Fox history. They really go to some places with this. The combat is great. We actually get more vehicular combat as well with the Landmaster, which is really well done. And it actually continues the story of adventures in a really good way. And we also get to see more of Krystal in what could be called a zero suit, basically. And if the tribal robes looks good on her, this looks just as good. I really can't see any flaws with it. It really continues the story in such a great way. It brings back characters such as Star Wolf, and it's really great to see them. It expands the lore of the overall Star Fox universe in a way that is really well done, and the main antagonist, asteroids, are just really so creepy, but in a good way. They really went the extra mile with it, which says a lot when you realize it's probably one of the first Star Fox games Rare didn't work on. So, yeah, that's going to be my overall pick. It's going to be Star Fox Assault, which is the next Star Fox game in the line. Let's see, Angron, what would your pick be?
There's quite a bit of Star Fox I have ultimately been interested in. There's the aforementioned fan project that, no joke, Estelle Ellis is working on, like legit voicing Krystal in said series. There's also Starlink Battle for Atlas, which is a Star Fox game because it has a Star Fox character in it, minus Krystal. There's also, again, Star Fox Adventures, despite it being one of the interesting cases of a love letter being rushed. But nope, I am going to follow up on Star Fox Assault because, for all intents and purposes, this is quite possibly the best Star Fox game in the entire series, even more so than Star Fox 64, dare I say it. Like this game in particular really got me into Star Fox as a whole. Like, this was the series that gave Krystal a more prominent role than just being the token damsel in distress. As they included Storia, they got Tricky back, they included Star Wolf. Like, there's just so much here that works. Everything you can imagine being good about a Star Fox game, this exemplifies it to a T. It looks amazing. It has an amazing story. Like, the stakes are very much real. Like, seriously, there's a lot to be said about the asteroids, but Deadly absolutely fits the bill. And lordy, do I love this game so much. To the point where, yeah, it even rivals most of the other stuff. Again, Star Fox 64 and the Mario Galaxy movie included. They are very much iconic in their own way when it comes to Star Fox, but yeah, I'm sorry. This is just going to have to be Star Fox Assault for me. There's no other game out there that tops that. And
Great choice right there. I can definitely see why you'd say that. So, let's see, Matt, what would your pick be?
I'm actually going for this game, Star Fox Adventure, for the reason that I described in our Rare episode. It can be summed up in 2 words. Krystal Fox. Krystal is such an iconic character. She is known outside of this game. You could not know about Star Fox at this point. That's kind of surprising, but you could not know about Star Fox and still know about Krystal. She is so well known and loved by the internet. There has actually been a saying that has developed around her specifically. Everyone is a furry for Krystal. She is so well received, and it's very rare to see a character this highly beloved, just such an already well-established property, that she is such a breakout smash character. She has broken containment effectively from her own game series and is just very well known in the wider populace at large. And spoilers for the Mario Galaxy movie, so skip ahead a minute if you don't want to hear that. Considering Star Fox himself was in the Mario Galaxy movie, was the Smash breakout character in that movie, I will be a bit shocked if they don't have a Star Fox movie, and this would be the one to make a Star Fox movie out of. This game actually lends itself really well to being a movie, and for the love of God, get Krystal in it, please. Thank you.
I think everyone can agree with that sentiment. She is such a fantastic character, and like I say, it's easy to see why she took over the internet by storm. Not just the internet, in real life too. It's so easy to see.
Great.
Let's see, Shark, what would your pick be?
Now, this game is actually like a really tempting answer because it was my first Star Fox game actually, and heck, it was almost my first GameCube game. So yeah, I do have plenty of great memories with it. I'm on the side of that Adventure is a good game. So I do recognize some of the flaws, but I really like this game. But actually, I'm gonna have to go with the other guys and say that it's actually Assault what will be my favorite Star Fox. Yeah, I mean, I play it. And yeah, like it really mixes up very well the R-Wing stuff, the ground levels, because I played the Star Fox 64, and the controls there are kind. I don't want to say bad, but they're kind of weird. And which, okay, I get it. Pure full 3D game and all of that. But I think Assault did a great job to polish what needs to be polished, and added more stuff, added the other type of vehicles, added interesting story, and mandatory they added Krystal, so it makes it better, hahaha. It's kind of a shame that the next game in the series Command will kind of break everything that was fixed, but if the current new game, the Switch 2 version of Star Fox does well, and want to follow with more like a shooting rather than doing adventures or something like that, I think Star Fox Assault should be the thing they should look at and be like, okay, this is going to be our base, we're going to improve wherever we can improve here. Obviously, we have to bring Krystal now or something, but yeah, Assault is like, in the whole story of the Star Fox series, I think Assault is the best game of them all.
Yeah, I can definitely see why for pretty much all the reasons we discussed. Oh, no, what do you give it? What would your favorite Star Fox media be?
Right. I'm going to be the minority since I have not played any Star Fox game at all. This one here seems interesting, but instead I'm going to pick the Death Battle episode I mentioned earlier with Fox McCloud versus Bucky O'Hare, because that was how I was introduced to both of them. I'm not sure why Slippy gets a lot of hate, though. Well, I could also pick the Mario movie, but that's a Mario movie, not a Star Fox movie until that comes out.
Now it is time for the patent-pending Dragoness Scale, where we are going to rank both Queen Earthshaker and Queen Cloudrunner. Sadly, not ranking Krystal because we know how well she would do. I'll go first, and as for my choice, they both are going to get the same score of 7 out of 10. The reason for that is, in terms of characters, they do something with them, but at the same time, they're not really the main focus point. Their characters are supposed to help you get from A to B and to be plot devices, but at the same time, Rare is so talented in the way that they make these characters feel real and alive. They're not just non-playable characters, they're not just cutscene characters. They actually feel like living, breathing beings. With that being said, they don't really have a focal point. Most of them don't even appear after this one's appearance. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with 7 out of 10 for the both of them. Same score, and that's for pretty much all the reasons I just discussed. See, Angron, what would your pick be?
Yeah, speaking of non-focal, a few honorable mentions before we get to that. The females in the Lightfoot Village are going to get a 7 out of 10 because, like, this comes after the whole Lightfoot fiasco, so they've definitely calmed down and have ultimately allowed Fox to be in their village for the most part, but at the end of the day, they're still Lightfoots, and take that as you will. They're not bad or anything. Then we got the female Thorntail. She just stands there all day guarding her eggs, which definitely a better mom than the Lightfoots, but then we got the freaking mini game, which can be a point of contention, so yeah, take that as you will, but she is ultimately getting an 8 out of 10 for that reason. In all seriousness, to Queen Earthwalker, she's Tricky's mom, and honestly, the fact that she's the mom of one of the characters that you use in the game definitely bumps her up to a 9 out of 10 in my book. Yeah, on top of everything else, she also gives me some Bea vibe, and while I don't feel Queen Earthwalker ultimately has done that at some point, she is one of the first people Star Fox meets in Thorntail Hollow, and for that reason, and honestly, as far as first encounters go, she's actually pretty great. She actively does her best to help Fox and guide him in the right direction, and as far as exposition dumps go, you can do a lot worse than her. So, yeah, it's for that reason I'm going to give her a 10 out of 10. Then we get to the Queen Cloudrunner, and yeah, she's going to get a slightly lesser score in my opinion. Because, like, this woman has been imprisoned and beaten to near death. Wow, that is definitely bold, even for Rare. Like, they can be brutal, they can be crass, they can be a lot of things, but this definitely still within Rare's eccentric borders, but definitely bumped her up. All things considered, though, she did have the potential to be spoiled, and she actually was devoted. She basically has this air of regality to her that the Earthwalker Queen had, but compared to her, Earthwalker, where she was calm, kind, the Cloudrunner composed, but yeah, Also, her minigame and the fact that her children were just left ultimately around the palace without her doing anything, which, again, beaten shitless. But yeah, all things considered, she didn't do too much other than have her forces help Fox when he was in danger. So it's honestly for that reason I am going to give her a 9 out of 10. She's not terrible. In fact, dare I say it, I feel very sorry for this. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for the Cloudrunner Queen, 10 out of 10 for the Earthwalker Queen.
Okay, all good. Let's see, Matt, what do you give them?
I'm actually with you on this one, Lud. 7 for both. They are rare design characters, back when they actually knew how to design characters. So 5 out of 5 in that regard. They both look fantastic. The issue is, and I said this, I believe, in the Banjo-Kazooie episode, Rare has this thing where they are great at making main characters. Their side characters are usually really good. Their quest giver characters are somewhere in the ballpark of bad to just okay. And this is more on the at most okay level because they just basically exist there to give you the quests and nothing really else. Their main issue. They don't really have that much in personality, unfortunately. So that's why I just landed still a solid 7, but just I wish that they were more, at least in the side character level, so that I could bump them up more.
Okay, I definitely see why. Let's see, Shark, what would you give them?
Kinda agree with what has been said with them. They do got great designs, and Rare is always good, giving personality to even the smallest NPCs and all of that. And yeah, there are characters that you are going to see them for a while, unlike others that you only see like once and never again. But there's one thing that I think gives one of them the edge over the other. For starters, for the Queen Earthwalker, I'm gonna give her 6 out of 10 actually, because I mean, design is great, voice is great, but her role is basically just telling Fox, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. She never goes out of her palace or her cave, basically, so yeah, not really memorable design, but her role in the game is like, sadly you could replace her with a sign or a stone that tells you where to go. Now comes Queen Cloudrunner, which I think the reason I'm gonna give her a one more point, I'm gonna give her a 7, is because she's a bit more proactive when helping Fox. Like, she doesn't just stand there all the time, she actually guides you there, she flies to the palace, and heck, in that moment where she was originally going to die, thank goodness she did not, when the Scales has her at her mercy, she doesn't back down, she just goes and, oh, Fox is going to stop you and make you disappear, so badass points for that. So yeah, and again, she doesn't just stand in a place, she doesn't just tell you where to go, she also tells you, she gives you what you need to go do. Yeah, she gets it at one point because she's a bit more proactive in the story. So for the Queen Earthwalker, it's gonna be 6, and for Cloudrunner, it's gonna be 7.
All good, all good. Let's see, Storm, what would you give them?
Right, since this is my first time doing a video game on the podcast, I'm gonna say I found Queen Earthwalker a bit blander than the rest of you said, but say she's more like a plot device than a character, so I'm just gonna give her a 7 out of 10. Meanwhile, Queen Cloudrunner, definitely my favorite out of the two, and I actually like her character a lot since she almost got beaten to death. I know she didn't, but so I'm going to give her the very generous 8 out of 10. It was going to be
Okay, all
if she
good.
wasn't beaten up, it would be a 7 out of 10, but I'll give her that extra point just for her.
Yeah, you know what? I think I want to bump her up to 10 out of 10 as well. So her and Queen Earthwalker in my book get a 10 out of 10.
That's going to be it for this week. If you have any questions, or if you want to see what score Krystal would get on the Dragoness Scale, feel free to email us at fierydiscourse@outlook.com. Visit us at Twitter at twitter.com/fierydiscourse. Visit us at bluesky@blueskyfierydiscourse. Be sure to subscribe to the Fiery Discourse YouTube channel and subscribe to the playlist. Like and hit the bell icon. Leave a comment. Any all comments are appreciated. Next week, we're going to be talking about the 2019 Primal episode, Spear and Fang, to continue our Jurassic July of 2026. It's really going to be a lot of fun when we get to that, and really looking forward to it. But until then, take care, and see you next week.
Later, y'all.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Adios. See you all next week.